Hey everyone, it's Jonathan, and welcome back to my annual animation ranking with Katie Fabrick. Last year we started with 2023's worst animated films and worked our way up to just under our top favorites. This time we're moving on to our own personal best of the best, our top 10 animated films from 2023. Okay, on to our top 10. So, my number 10, the one that inched out Super Mario Brothers, was Migration.
Okay. I have not seen that one. I meant to get around to it, but I just never got the chance.
Okay. When I first saw it, I thought it would be cute, and it was. It probably is on par with Super Mario Brothers, but I think overall it was a slightly better film.
Uh-huh.
I think it had a little bit more, I don't know, artistry. Like it was more creative in that they were trying to tell their own story and they were really successful with telling an original story, even though if it is a story that technically we've seen before, like a group of animals is trying
Uh-huh.
to get from one place to another place, which we've seen probably hundreds of times over the years.
Yeah.
But I thought they did their own thing with it, and it was really fun. I really liked the characters. I really liked the voice cast. They gave it a good, not realistic look, but like at least for the backgrounds, it was realistic in like a hyper realistic, beautiful kind of way,
Uh-huh.
rather than just being a cartoon, because this is a cartoon. Like these are cartoony ducks with cartoony creatures and cartoony villains, and the humans are extremely exaggerated cartoons. The main villain human is like borderline hideous with how exaggerated he is. He reminds me of someone I've seen in some other cartoon, but I don't know. He was very weird looking. I didn't particularly enjoy the villain design, but this is a cartoon, so I'm not going to nitpick it that much. But like for all the ducks and things, they were cute. The baby bird was just adorable, the youngest duckling. It was a fun movie. I really liked it. Enough so that it inched out Super Mario Brothers. So what do you have for number 10?
So I'm gonna admit it, I forgot one and then I remembered. So I do have two more. I have an extra one.
Okay, that's fine.
So my next one is Chicken Run Dawn of the Nuggets.
Okay. Was that the one you forgot?
No, the other one I
Okay.
forgot is far higher, which I feel so bad that I forgot it because I loved it. But
Okay.
I had written out like a list and then I rewrote the list in order. I wrote in a list of watching and I had forgotten to put it on the watch list.
Okay.
So it did end up in the ranking list. But no, Chicken Run, Done and Nugget, I kind of held off on this one because I was like, I grew up with Chicken Run. I remember really
Hmm.
enjoying it. I haven't seen it in a while. I love Artemin though. So I'm
Yes.
like, this has got to be great. But also it could be bad. like I was a little worried. But it was a lot of fun. I had fun with it. I think my biggest beef with it was some of the voices just sounded off to me because
Yeah.
they weren't the original people. And I understand to an extent on some of them, like even they couldn't get them or something. I don't understand the ginger thing.
Yeah, me neither.
That's weird.
Yeah.
But I really had fun with it. I thought it was a fun story. I liked how it was a simple concept because when Artemis gets a little too complex, I think that their stories don't quite land as well for me. But I like it that they keep them simple for the majority of the time, yet they don't feel like they're stretching out over the course of the movie, like they're too long or that they're too simple for the story, and we get enough for the story that we get.
Hmm.
And I really enjoy that about Artemis, that they don't feel like, oh, well, we have to hit a certain runtime, so the story has to keep going. Every scene feels deliberate, and I really enjoy that. And it was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. I thought the story was great. I thought the characters were fun. I was a little worried I wouldn't like the new characters, but I did end up liking them. But it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little higher on my list, so I'll talk more when I get there.
Yeah, I kind of assumed so.
Well, since you have an extra one, do you want to slip in your next one?
Yeah. So my next one is Merry Little Batman.
Oh, okay. That one's also higher on my list.
Yeah, the thing is, we've read my top 10 are all movies that I absolutely enjoy and would
Hmm.
watch multiple times
Yeah.
again. And it's just, I had to rank, so they have to go here.
Yeah.
I'd say my top five all are over these movies. but I do understand that a lot of it is just my personal bias because that's
Hmm.
how lists work.
Yeah.
But Merry Little Batman surprised me. I've
Oh,
talked
me
about it a
too.
lot,
Yeah.
but yeah, it super surprised me, and it's so enjoyable, and I love it. I probably will start watching it every year around Christmas time. So,
Hmm.
which I never really had a lot of Christmas movies I watched consistently, like growing up. So I thought I didn't like Christmas movies, but it just turned out that either they hadn't been made yet, or I just hadn't found them.
Yeah.
So now suddenly I have all these Christmas movies, and I'm like, oh gosh, I have to watch all these Christmas movies around Christmas. But I mean, you could just watch Christmas movies, whatever. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But no, this is definitely it lives up there for me. And I'm it's one of the best Batman movies out there.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll talk about it more when I get to it, but yeah, it surprised me as well. It was good.
Uh-huh.
And plus we did a whole podcast on it, so we will go we if you want more of our thoughts on it, you can definitely get a lot more in depth than that one. Well, for round number nine, I've got The Little Mermaid, the Disney
Okay.
remake. Another movie that surprised me. Like, I figured it'd be pretty good because I knew that I liked the cast, but also Disney movies, the live action remakes can be hit or miss. And the most recent one had been the Pinocchio one, which is the one that finally turned my heart to stone. Because before I was just like, yeah, they're hit or miss, whatever, I don't care. Pinocchio was borderline awful. I did a whole podcast with Eli, so we don't need to really go into it, but
Yeah.
it was not good. So I
No.
was not holding out much hope for The Little Mermaid, and that was why it surprised me because it followed such a terrible film, and it was so much better than that one was. Yeah, it had a great cast. I really liked Halle Bailey as Ariel, even Ursula. Like I was questioning Melissa McCarthy.
Uh-huh.
I was like, I don't know about this. Because I feel I never saw the full thing, but they had Queen Latifah as Ursula in a different live action stage thing that they did for TV. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
she would have been perfect. Why did you get Queen Latifah back?
Yeah.
But Melissa McCarthy was good. Her song was not as good as Pat Carroll's, but as a whole, I did enjoy the character with her. So that was better than expected. I think it probably could have been better if they'd had Queen Latifah, but that's a nitpick. And then I'd never heard of Jonah Howard King before, but I thought he was great as Eric.
Uh-huh.
And of course, Aquafina. I love Aquafina in anything. She was in Migration also. I loved her weird little pigeon character. If you put Aquafina in anything, I'm probably going to like it, even if it's only for her.
It's like, yeah, it'll be like, well, it was a terrible movie, but Aquafina was in it, so 10 out of 10.
Yeah. And this did suffer the same problem that the quote unquote live action Lion King had with trying to be live action with the animated CGI character animals and then also trying to make them so realistic. And like, yes, they look realistic, but they don't emote very well. So
Yeah.
Aquafina had her job cut out for her to try and bring life to Scuttle. And I think she did a good job with Scuttle's bird face. But yeah, I really liked it. I surprised me how good it was. And I that was another one I went to see with my cousin Shayna and her husband Eric. And I think Eric said that he liked it way better than the animated one. So I don't know what
Yeah.
that how much people will agree with that. I think the animated one probably is still better. But if you look at them as two separate films, I think they both have their own merits.
Yeah, I guess. You can have an opinion, I guess. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You can have an opinion. We can't always be right. No, I'm kidding. It's fine.
Did you see this one?
I have not seen this one, and it's just kind of because if I don't have to watch a live action remake, I won't.
That is true. There's still some that I have not seen. I figure I'll watch them when I get to them for the podcast. Like I'm not going to
Yeah.
subject myself to Beauty and the Beast until I have to subject myself to Beauty and the Beast.
So my number nine is Scooby-Doo and Crypto 2.
Okay.
And this movie is amazing. It's probably, again, one of the best Scooby-Doo movies ever made. I love the wackiness. I love all the jokes. I love all the characters. I love the silly jokes and humor. I think Crypto's very cute. I like how Scooby has a crush on Crypto, basically. Um, I like Fred doing a Batman voice and running around with the bat belt. It's just all ridiculous fun, and it was just perfect for me. But what I'm learning over the past few years is we should give Crypto more movies because apparently he makes surprisingly good movies.
Yeah, he's not one that had much of a spotlight for, I mean, I don't know when I first heard of him. He wasn't ever a DC character that was on my radar much, but he keeps popping up more often now. So
Yeah.
maybe he'll be in the live action Superman.
Oh, that'd be great. I feel like James Gunn could really pull him off.
He
Because,
could.
like,
If anyone could pull it off, it'd be James
yeah,
Gunn.
like Cosmo was so cute in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So,
Oh
like,
yeah.
and I know Crypto doesn't traditionally speak, but he could do it. I mean, I'd be
Just
up for
give him a little voice box that he got from a space alien.
that, or he could just be a barky dog like Groot, where someone can
That's
understand him
true. That would
basically.
work also.
Like, I feel like James Gunn has done so much with Guardians of the Galaxy that you could probably come up with anything.
Yeah. For number 8, this is where I've got Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget.
Okay.
This one, I think my only disappointment is that it wasn't better to make like into my top 5
Yeah.
because I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't as good as I was hoping.
Uh-huh.
Like I was hoping it'd be amazing because it's Aardman and I love Chicken Run.
Yeah.
So my hopes were way too high. Like I should have gone in just looking for a fun movie and I would have been happy. It is a very good movie. I really liked it. It was really fun to see all these characters again. I thought they had a great story for the follow-up. It just wasn't blow me away amazing. But I did really like it and I highly recommend it. Just go in knowing that it can never live up to the original Chicken Run.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to go into a movie.
Hmm.
Artemis movie, no offense, but they just make such good movies that it's like, how are you supposed to be able to capture lightning in a bottle twice with the
Yeah,
same idea?
yeah. Yeah, they did a very good job with making a sequel to this because sometimes
Uh-huh.
it is really hard to follow up a really good popular movie. And they did a very good job making it not feel like a tired cash grab.
Yeah.
Yeah, it obviously could never live up to the original Chicken Run, but if you go in knowing that, you'll have fun.
Yeah. So my number 8 is Deep Sea, which is maybe a movie people haven't heard a lot about, but it is a Chinese animated movie. And the art style of this movie is amazing. I really like this particular animation studio from China. They're called October Media. I've seen a few of their movies. My biggest complaint usually with their movies is their stories have never been quite up to the level of their animation stuff for multiple different reasons. Big reason is making an animated movie in China is really hard because they regulate, like their government regulates what movies they can make.
Hmm.
It's crazy. So this movie is very, very good. I have it at this low for two reasons, and I feel like one of them is not its fault. So one, it is a sad movie. It's kind of a heartfelt, very in the same vein of a Studio Ghibli movie. It has a lot of Studio Ghibli influence, I believe. It's got a lot of the similar feel as a Studio Ghibli movie, so it's got that Studio Ghibli like sadness, but like heartwarming kind of stuff. But the big thing that the reason why I have it low is because I can't get the Chinese dub or the Chinese language. I can't find it. And my goodness, the English dub is not good.
Oh no.
It's it's just not good. It's so well animated, and it's one of those things that since it's 3D animated, they put so much effort into making the mouth movements be exaggerated to the original language that not only does the dub never match up because it can't. There's no way for you to be able to do it. I just feel like the casting wasn't very well done. Like the main character, it's obviously an adult playing a child, and it's not
Hmm.
an issue, but it just feels like it does it because the rest of the movie is so good. It doesn't live up to it.
Hmm.
And I feel like this would be higher if other movies that I just, personally enjoyed a lot more because they just hit right for me. I think it would be higher because it is a gorgeous movie and it has a really cute and sad and sweet story behind it. And I loved all the characters. This movie made me like a clown, and I'm not a big clown fan. So take that what you will. Oh, but it's a very sweet story. I highly recommend if you can get your hands on it. But I would recommend probably the Chinese original language is probably your better bet to watch because the dub just cannot live up to the rest of the movie. And I don't want to be too rude to the voice actors because I'm sure they're doing their best. It's just it does not work for this particular movie. But it was a very good movie. I highly recommend it. It balances what I believe kind of like an artsy movie, but you can still understand it. It's very spirited away in a way where it's about a girl who gets whisked off to kind of like a magical area.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It is sad, but a lot of movies are. Everyone was sad in 2023, I guess.
I don't think I'd heard of this one.
No, yeah, very good. Like it's kind of got that style of you could tell they really try to make it look like their concept art.
Mm,
And it's fun because they like there's a book within the movie that is concept art and it's really cool like seeing the two movies, like the movie style and everything together. It's a lot of fun. I'm hoping that they keep being able to make movies. I know this was like a dream project of the animation studio's creator. So I'm glad he got to make the movie he wanted to make. I hope they continue to make movies. I hope they continue to get released in America because that's kind of a bit of an issue.
yeah.
But I'll deep dive and watch a good Chinese animation movie wherever I can. No government can stop me. So yeah, but highly recommend. Very good movie.
I'll have to add it to my growing list. Well, my next film, speaking of Studio Ghibli, is The Boy and the Heron.
Yeah.
This one is one that I feel like it should have been higher, but also I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to, but it was
Uh-huh.
still very good. So it, of course, had to be in the top 10.
Yeah.
Parts of it I was a bit confused by, but I think part of that is probably just cultural differences. There were things happening that I didn't fully understand, which is fine. That
Uh-huh.
happens in other movies, and if the movie is good enough, it's not an issue. And I feel like this one was. But yeah, it was beautiful. I'm really glad that I got to see this one in the theater. It was really good. It wasn't as good as some of my favorite Studio Ghibli movies, but it was still very good.
Yeah. I really need to watch it. We only had it showing in one theater for like 2 days,
Mm.
and I didn't realize that until I went to that theater to go watch Godzilla Minus One. So I was already watching another movie, and I'm like, darn, they're at the same time. I've already bought my tickets. And
Oh,
so I wasn't able to watch it, and then it's gone. It was gone from everywhere except for I found out it was in a tiny little theater tucked away for another day, and I had just missed it
mm.
because they had to close early. They were gonna play it for one more day, but there was a big snowstorm that day, so they just closed and
Oh.
they didn't play it. So I was like, no, I missed it every time. So I'm really hoping for it to be released somewhere where I can watch it because I've heard good things. It looks fun. I've avoided everything. I don't know what the story is because I haven't watched any of the trailers or anything.
I went in blind too. I had no idea what the story was going to be. I had seen a trailer, but that didn't tell me much.
Yeah, like I went to the theater once and they play the trailer. I'm like, no, and I like plug my ears and close my eyes because I was just like, you know what? I don't know. It just kind of intrigued me that like in Japan the only promotional material was that one drawing and
Mm, yeah.
they never released a trailer or anything. So I was like, I'd like to watch the movie that way too. So I've seen a few screenshots. So like I know what the boy looks like. I've seen the heron. I've seen the little old man with the big nose. But I haven't seen much outside of that and I'm trying to keep, the spoilers down because I've held out this long. I'd be really mad at myself if I couldn't hold out a little bit longer.
Yeah. I feel if you had seen the trailer, I don't think it would have spoiled much because the movie is
Yeah.
kind of bizarre.
Yeah. It's one of those weird things I get in my head though, and I'm like, all right, time to really make this happen for some reason. It's not important. I wish I could focus on important things that way.
I mean, if you've come this far, you might as well just not see
Yeah,
anything about it and watch it blind.
yeah. So my number seven is The Amazing Maurice.
Oh, okay.
I really enjoyed that movie. It could be because I'm a Terry Pratchett fan. And I thought that the movie really captured Terry Pratchett's voice from the books. I have never read The Amazing Maurice, but I've read some of his Discworld books. And I read Good Omens, which was co-written with Neil Gaiman, but it still had his energy in it. And I really like his writing style. I'm a big fan of his work, and I think that this really captured that energy. I thought it was fun. I like quirky fairy tales where they kind
Hmm.
of twist them.
Yeah.
I thought that the evil Pied Piper was hilarious for
Yeah.
whatever
Yes.
reason. I don't know.
I did too.
It was so crazy.
He had crazy clown energy.
Yeah, it was so weird. I liked Maurice. He reminded me a lot of a cat my family has, who's also a big orange cat who's kind of full of himself. He was spoiled as a kitten, so he's got an attitude. I loved David Tennant as a mouse. I loved the little mice having all their
Hmm.
strange little names. I thought that was funny. Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. Again, I can understand why people wouldn't like it, but for me, it really was a really fun, interesting, and kind of different told animation
Hmm.
that I had a lot of fun with.
Yeah, it was fun. You're kind of making me wish I'd had it higher on my list, but yeah, it was good. It was better than I expected it to be.
Yeah, I kind of hope at the end, I don't know if anyone is familiar with any of Terry Pratchett films, I mean books, but at the end they had a little reference to one of his Discworld books with Rincewind, the wizard, and I think it's Mayflower. It's been a while since I've read Color of Magic, but two characters from his other books are in the at the end of the movie, and I love their design. And I'm like, please make a Color of Magic movie. I would watch that too. Like, I want them to adapt more Terry Pratchett books because I think his whimsical fantasy is so different than like other people's fantasy and kind of that Tolkien-esque fantasy that we
Hmm.
get a lot of times. I would love to see more of him, and I think that his writing style really fits well with animation. So I think that'd be really fun.
Terry Pratchett's an author that I've never read, but everything I hear about him tells me that I would love his stuff if I read it.
Yeah.
For number six, I have Nimona.
Okay. See, that's the one I forgot,
Oh,
which
okay.
I don't know how because as we already know, it is high in my list.
Yeah.
I could not believe that I forgot it. I was like, wait, where is it?
Yeah, no, this was very good. I'm so glad that this got rescued from Disney's buyout and trashing of Blue Sky,
Yeah.
because this is the one that was basically canceled. Like it was almost finished and they canceled it.
Uh-huh.
I'm so sick of that being a trend these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one was everyone had kind of lost hope, but then it was rescued and finished, and it was well worth the rescue.
Yeah, because you can't get rid of Nimona.
I was afraid that after all of this, it was just going to be kind of meh, but I'm
Yeah.
so glad that I was wrong.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like it had come out and everyone was like, "Oh, it's amazing. Oh, it's amazing." And I'm just like, "But what if it I don't think it's amazing." No.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I kept hearing good things. And I was like, oh, I hope it lives up to the expectations. And
Yeah.
it did. It was very good.
Yeah. Mine's a bit higher in my list, but yes, definitely. It's very, very good.
Okay. We can save it and talk more when we get to it for your list.
Okay.
So, what do you have for your number six?
So my number six is the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Okay.
I remember the trailers coming out thinking, oh no, this is good. Well, I remember the announcement of the voice cast. And I'm gonna be honest, I was on the hype of Chris Pratt be Mario. That sounds like an awful idea. Because, Chris Pratt only does one voice.
Yeah. I was afraid he was not going to do his voice. I was afraid he was going
Yeah,
to try and do the Mario voice.
exactly. I was more worried that it was going to be Chris Pratt trying to do Mario and be like, "Oh, it's the me." I'm like, "Oh no, I don't need a repeat of the Super Mario show." No offense to the actors, but I really don't need a repeat of that. So even though they're supposed to be from Brooklyn and they have like Brooklyn Italian accents, I
Uh-huh.
understand. But guys, okay, it's not great. Okay. Anyways, I had friends. This is one of those things where I had friends who were more upset about it than I was, that it became funny to me. So I started thinking, oh, this is funny. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me. But I was like, I'm going to drag all of my friends to see this movie because none of them want to see it because they're like, no, my childhood. Because they're a bit older than me. And I didn't get into video games until I was a bit older myself. So I didn't get to play like on an original Nintendo or the NES or any of that. So I played Mario in my childhood, but I didn't have like that as much. So they were like really big Mario fans. And I'm also a big Mario fan, but I feel like there is a slight difference between all that and growing
Hmm.
up with all those different renditions of Mario and stuff. As I've only grown up really with the 3D Mario and then the occasional like pixel Mario on like the Nintendo and Nintendo 3DS and stuff. So I was super stoked to drag my friends all to watch a quote unquote bad movie. But then the trailer came out, and I'm like, guys, wait, this doesn't look bad. This isn't funny anymore. And they're all like, hey, God, this doesn't look bad. Except and like, I had some people who were still like, I'm not sure about the voice,
Hmm.
and it's like, we got to get used to it. But like, eventually, we just all went to the theater. There was no dragging anyone to the theater. And we all actually had a lot of fun. And honestly, if they had tried to go for a more of a plot, it could have ended up worse.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they kept it so simple. And there were things in this movie that I normally wouldn't laugh at, but it was really funny to me. Like the scene with Luigi and the dog, where it's like that's such an illumination moment.
It was. Yeah.
And yet it was so funny. I don't know why. I don't know why I found it funny. I think I don't know, maybe Charlie Day as Luigi was brilliant. Okay. Like I will take 100 Chris Pratt Marios for Charlie Day Luigi because he did such a good job.
He did, yeah.
Like, I don't care if we get, I know they announced a second one. I don't care if we get that. I want a Luigi movie.
I mean, he
Like,
has his own franchise. He could do a Haunted
yeah, so
Mansion
yeah,
game.
I would love a Luigi Mansion movie. Like, that sounds like gold right there.
Yeah.
But we'll see if that ever comes to fruition. I'd also like a Donkey Kong movie, but that's probably never gonna happen. Because I love Donkey Kong. I thought Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong was ridiculous, but I
Yes.
weirdly thought it was great in
Yeah,
its own
yeah.
way.
I mean, it was so very obviously Seth Rogen to the point where
Yes,
you can't just forget that it's Seth Rogen, but it worked.
right. It's so strange.
Yeah.
But I had thought originally that Donkey Kong was just going to be a cameo and then he disappeared, but he was in the movie way more than, and I was like so excited. I was like, oh my gosh. Also, I don't know. I think also just seeing Mario and Luigi and Donkey Kong and Peach and Toad. I also thought Toad was going to be super annoying because I thought he was going to be acting like a minion. But I think Michael Keaton did such a good job as Toad. He was great.
Yeah, that was another one that was much better than I was expecting.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, toads are gonna be like minions. They're gonna be like screaming all the time. I don't want that. They already are slightly annoying in games at times. Because all they do is scream. But I appreciate toning down the illuminationness.
Yeah,
And from what I've heard from Migration, it seems that they're kind of leading to tell better stories.
I think
So
so. Yeah.
I'm hoping that they continue that trend.
Yeah, me too.
Because from what I've heard of Migration, it sounds like it was a pretty decent movie,
Yeah.
if not a great movie. So I'm hoping they'll continue that trend and we get another contender for great animated movies because Disney's not doing that very much right now.
Yeah.
And because I think Disney thinks they could just kind of make the same thing and people will go see it just because it's a Disney movie.
That's
And I'm
what it's been
hoping,
feeling like
yeah.
recently.
And so I'm hoping that these other animation studios doing like new and inventive things and pushing the boundaries will make Disney step up. And they kind of tried to do that with Wish, where they're like, see, we changed up the art style. It's like, it's not the art style that makes Puss in Boots great.
Yeah,
That's an extra. It's not the art
yeah.
style that makes Spiderverse great. That's an extra. The stories are really what makes them amazing. But yeah, so Super Mario movie, I thought it was really great. I thought they captured the art style really fun. I love all their squishy faces. I loved it all. It was very sweet. I love the Charles Martinet cameos. I thought that was really
Yes,
sweet.
yeah, that was great.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I feel like Illumination really is stepping up their game, and they were kind of the perfect studio to do Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah, I
I don't,
was
it would have been too different if like Disney or Pixar or DreamWorks had tried.
yeah, like
Illumination was perfect.
I was so worried when they said Illumination. I'm like, oh no, I don't care that much for Illumination movies. But then like the thing is that I actually am appreciative that Illumination did it because Illumination took a chance as opposed to the other studios, which I don't think they would have done it. I think they would have put their own formula onto Mario too
Yes.
much, that it wouldn't have been as good.
Yeah, that was what I would have been afraid of if, especially like DreamWorks had tried to do.
Yeah.
And then it would
Oh
have
no.
just felt like, hello, how do you do, fellow kids? The movie. Have
It'd be like
Mario
Shrek.
dabbing.
It'd be Shrek with Mario. Get out of my pipe.
Yeah,
Just
no.
Bowser. Get out of my pipe. Oh gosh.
I think I had more faith in Illumination because, like, I know most people associate Illumination with the Minions, but for me, I don't really care about the Minions that much. I really like their other stuff. Like, I really
Uh-huh.
like their Sing movies, and The Secret Life of Pets was good. So that was why I felt Illumination would be the best, and I think why ultimately they were the best choice.
Yeah. I like the Sing movies all right. I think those are my favorite out of the other ones they've made. My only issue with the Sing movies was that because they're musicals, you don't need, and with how many songs and characters they don't really need to have a bunch of story. Like they have
Yeah.
story that fits within those things, but the big draw is the songs and the
Yes.
musical numbers.
Yeah.
So I was like, what are, so I wasn't quite sure how they would be able to handle a movie. Like all the other ideas that I had seen with just them telling a story, I hadn't quite liked the story well enough. So I was worried about Mario.
Hmm.
But I'm glad that they did what they did. I really enjoyed it. And I hope that the second one's as good. And I hope they make a Luigi spinoff.
Yeah. Well, getting into the top five, I feel like all of my top five could be interchangeable depending on my mood.
Yeah.
Like they're all so good, but they're all so different.
Yeah, exactly.
So just putting together my list, this is how I feel today. I could feel different tomorrow. I run into this with ranking things all the time. It's just things being so different, it's really hard to rank.
Yeah.
So I think they're right now they're in the order of how much I want to rewatch them.
Yeah. I think also our lists are based off of the very vague term animation, which that doesn't necessarily mean like the genre it's going to be. So like
Oh yeah, no,
it could
all of
this
mine are
could
different
yeah.
genres.
Yeah, like I think most of mine are different genres. I think a lot. I think you could probably tag most of them under action, but that's also a very vague genre. So, I like to keep them kind of grouped together, as in these ones are the bad ones, these one are the okay ones, these ones are
Yeah,
the mediocre, and then these are all the ones that I watch, like I've watched multiple times.
yeah. For me, the top my top five are ones that I've watched multiple times, except for the one number five, which I only just watched a couple days ago for the first time.
uh,
And that would be, I'm sure it's going to be higher on your list, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
hey, how did you like it?
I mean, it's in my top five, so
Yeah. So remind me, how many Ninja Turtle movies have you seen?
none. This is the first
Okay,
one I've ever seen.
okay.
No, it was so good. I specifically watched it because I told you I would. Because
Yeah.
I had never seen any other. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies, and I figured it would be fine. I don't think I expected it to be in my top five,
Yeah.
but I loved the style of it. It was like it was trying to go for like a Spider-Verse vibe, except it was more stylized and more sketchy.
And more like squash. Like everything looked lumpy and smushed.
I don't remember where it might have been on Rachel's podcast. I think it was Rachel and Animat. They were talking
Okay.
about this movie, and I think he said that it was so ugly it became beautiful.
Yes.
And I think I agree with that.
Yeah, like I've gotten into a lot of like listening to people who worked on it talk about it, and they said we always said push it farther until it was too far, and then we would take it back a step. But they hardly ever got told that's too far. And so they would just push it as far as possible. And I just love that idea about it. I also love that they were talking about the baby turtles and they said they wanted to look like they were made out of clay and dropped on their heads.
The
And that's
babies were
and
so cute.
they're so cute and so deformed. I love them so much.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
I watched it with Sarah, and I don't think she was expecting to like it that much, but she needed a distraction because she'd had a really bad day, and
Uh-huh.
she ended up really liking it, and she actually really liked the soundtrack. So she was
Yeah.
like searching up the music to listen to later.
Right? No, it's brilliant. Like I love Ninja Turtles and I was expecting this movie to be great, but it still like wowed me like how great it was. I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah, I really liked it. It was really surprising.
Yeah, just all the characters are so good. Even like it had so many side villains, but they were also interesting and
Yeah,
fun in their own ways.
yeah,
Ah, it's so good.
yeah, and I really liked how they all felt like kids.
Yeah.
Like, because, like, with I know the teenage is in the name, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Yeah.
but I've never seen them. So to me, I've never thought of them as kids. They're
Yeah.
just giant mutant turtles.
Exactly.
That
Yeah.
it was like teenage in name only from what I can see. But watching this, it was like they felt like kids.
Yeah.
And I read that they actually had the four boys and the girl who played April recording together,
Yeah.
and they just kind of played off each other, and there was apparently a lot of ad-libbing that
Yeah.
made its way into the movie, and I think that really helped elevate this to beyond what it
Uh-huh.
could have been, and it was just so much better for it.
Yeah, a great thing they also let the kids do is they would write lines, but then they said, okay, how would a kid say this? Like, we don't want to write, we'd try to do that hello fellow kids or try to
Yes,
write kid slang. They're like,
yes.
how would a kid say that? And I'm like, thank you. This is what you should be doing. If you're trying to write kids slang, ask the kids. It's really funny because they have a bunch of videos for promotion where they're teaching the older people what slang means.
Uh-huh.
And it's just kind of funny because like they're there with Ice Cube and Seth Rogen and they're trying to tell them what Gucci means or something. And they're just like, what do you mean? What it like they're trying to guess what it means and they're all dying of laughter. It seemed like it was a really fun production.
Yeah,
Also, great news about this movie. They tried really hard to treat their cast and crew really nicely. From what I've heard, they were very accommodating to people's schedules and they try not to overwork them and stuff. And I think that's just really inspiring and great
yeah,
from a large studio. I heard the director was really strict. He tried really hard to make it as fun to work for and more of a job and less of a slave labor.
yeah,
And I really appreciate that. Like, really deeply appreciate people going out of their way to make and treat artists and, animators and visual effects people and the sound crew just like real people. And
yeah,
like, I hope that with recent news and all that stuff, that a lot of people try harder on that front
yeah, yeah,
because it
definitely.
obviously can be done because this movie is amazing.
Yeah,
And I know that a lot got animated in France, and I don't know how that was handled because obviously the director wasn't in charge of that angle there. I sincerely hope that they also were treated nicely And I hope that this all pushes for a better place for these people who make such amazing art
Yeah.
and bring such joy to the world.
Hmm.
And this movie makes me so happy. It's so good.
Yeah. It was really good, really surprising.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to more. I'm assuming that there's going to be a sequel because they left it wide open.
Yes. So they have currently are working on a animated tie-in series that's releasing this year. It's going to be like 2D animated, which I was a little worried about, but it seems like whilst it's not exactly the same style, they're really capturing a fun energy with it, which I'm enjoying. And then they're going to make a sequel movie. The director has signed on with Paramount to make a bunch of movies with them. So he's coming back for the sequel, which I'm really excited because he was one of the co-directors on Mitchell's versus Machines.
Oh, that's right. And he also wrote for Gravity Falls. I found that out
Yes.
after I watched the movie and I was like,
Yes.
you know what? That makes a whole lot of sense. And that's
Yes.
probably why I like this so much.
Yes. Yeah, no. I am quickly becoming a huge fan of Jeffro.
Yeah.
Like, go him. I hope all the best to him. He's such a funny guy. I love that he loves to voice random characters within his movies. Like, there's one part, I'm gonna get the quote wrong, but when the Ninja Turtles early on, they're like, oh, we can't be up and about and we have to go back home and we can't be. And there's this teenager who yells out, woo, I love being normal and able to go wherever I want. And that's him. And
That
I
is
love
such
that
a
so
Gravity Falls line.
yes, and I love it so much. And it's just such fun, ridiculous energy that I am here for.
Yeah.
And I really look forward to the sequel because the hint with Shredder at the end. Oh, I can't wait to see a Shredder in this universe. Like, how is he gonna be? So cool.
Yeah. I don't know much about the character Shredder, but I knew who the silhouette was because I'm
Yeah.
vaguely familiar with the characters. I wasn't familiar with whoever Maya Rudolph was playing, but as soon as that character started talking, I was like, that's Maya Rudolph. I love Maya Rudolph.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm so glad that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah, no, it's so much fun. I can't wait for more. And yes, it is very high up on my list.
So what's your number five then?
So my number five, and it's very hard to put this movie here, but my number five is Elemental.
Okay.
And I love Elemental. It is such a good movie. It's top Pixar movies. It's in my top favorites.
Yeah.
I thought it was really, really good. And I loved it so much. And it's funny because romance movies are not my thing. I don't watch romance movies. And
Not really mine either. Yeah.
sometimes romance in movies that aren't romance movies really irritate me. I'm like, get that out of my movie. It's not adding anything, get out. But oh my gosh, this is like peak romance movie. I love the characters. I love the story. And I think the thing is whilst it's a romance movie, it's also got other elements to it.
Yeah.
And aha elements. You like what I did there? You get my totally intentional joke. Oh gosh. Sorry. But what I like that about it, that it's not only a romance movie. That's just part of the character's journey.
Hmm.
But no, absolutely adore Elemental. I'm sure when we get to it, we can talk even more about it.
Yeah, it is higher on my list, but yes.
Gorgeous movie,
Oh yeah, yeah.
wonderful characters. I love them all. Kind of mostly Wade. I love him so much. I felt very called out by Wade that was me. I was like, hang on a minute. Like he
I'm in
just
this
turned
thing and I don't like it.
yeah. He's like the instant he shows up, he's crying. And he's like, it's so adorable. And I'm like, hang on a minute. Like I saw it in theaters twice. I watched it by myself once after work, and then I went again with a sibling. And he turns towards me right when Wade shows up and he goes, and I'm like, stop it. No. You're not allowed to think that.
That's hilarious.
And like at the end, they're like, "You're just Wade," and I'm like, "No, don't say I'm Wade. I mean, I love Wade, but like, no." But like, yeah, because like I notoriously cry over everything. It's a running joke in my family. And so that's why I have to balance emotional movies because I'm already crying over not emotional movies. I cried over every single one of my top five. But no, Elemental is amazing. I love it so much. Cannot recommend it enough.
Yeah.
Top tier Pixar movie.
Yeah. I'll say a little bit more when I get to it on my list, but I
Yeah.
totally agree. For number four, I have Suzume.
Okay.
Have you seen this one?
I have not. I've heard about it. I
Okay.
believe in the English dub, Josh Keaton's in it, and I like Josh Keaton. That's kind of all I know. Is that the one about the chair?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it.
It's so good.
Yeah.
This, this one came to our theater.
Oh, wow.
I was absolutely shocked. I think our town has less than 5,000 people now. It used to be like our town of 5,000 people. I think with the last census, I think we dropped down to like 4,000 some. So we have a tiny town with a tiny theater. We do not get foreign films. We don't get indie
Uh-huh.
films.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got Suzume. I was absolutely shocked that this
Yeah.
somehow came to our town. So as soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, we need to see this. We need to support this on the off chance it ever happens again. It
Yeah.
hasn't happened since. There's been no foreign film since. But
Uh-huh.
I went with my cousins Sasha, Shayna, and Shayna's husband. We all loved it. Sasha went back and saw it a couple days later again before it left the theater. I had to work that night, otherwise I would have gone with her again.
Uh-huh.
But it was so good. It's so beautiful. It's for anybody who doesn't know, it's by Makoto Shinkai, the same guy who did Your Name. If you've seen
Yeah.
Your Name, you know the overall look of this film. It is totally different story, but it's beautiful.
Hmm.
This is another one where, similar to The Boy and the Heron, some things were mildly confusing, which I chalked up to cultural differences, but
Uh-huh.
it didn't matter. It was so beautiful. The story was so good. I love these characters. It's just a piece of art. Like Your Name, just a piece of art. Just watching art on the screen. I loved it. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, highly recommend this one. It's so good. So what do you have for number four?
So my number four is Nimona.
Okay.
It took me a while to get to Nimona because I really wanted to watch it, but I wanted to be in the mood.
Hmm.
Because when it came out, I was not in the mood for a movie. And I was like, I know if I'm in a grumpy mood, I won't be able to enjoy it fully. So I waited for a long time and then finally I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep pushing off forever. I need to watch it. So I sat down and I watched it, and it's brilliant. I love it. I love the characters. I love the humor. I love the story. The animation's great.
Such a good style.
Yeah. I think if I had a minor nitpick, I felt like in some scenes, the lighting very much felt like they had a stage light shine on them and it wasn't quite right for the setting. But it was just a minor nitpick. It didn't take me out of the movie.
Hmm.
I just felt like some scenes were so well lit, then there were other ones that it felt like they were under bright fluorescent lighting, and I was a bit confused sometimes. But other than that, like that's a minor nitpick. It does not take away my enjoyment of the movie at all. No, it was a brilliant movie. I'm so glad it got saved. I love the style. I love Nimona. I don't know if people had a hang up about the art style change from the comic book, but I personally prefer it.
I've seen pictures from I haven't read the comic book, but I've seen pictures from it. I liked this better.
Yeah, I think that it really helped them be more expressive. Not to say that ND Stevenson can't be expressive in his art style, but I think with the way that this opened up more opportunities for them to express more, and I liked that they were able to do that. I feel like if they just went with the dot eyes, they just wouldn't be able to express quite as much.
Hmm.
Maybe in 2D animation, if they really push the boundaries of form, like their whole body changed a lot more. But I liked how they did it in this style. So
Hmm.
yeah.
I just liked how creative it was. There was so much that like I went into this expecting like a medieval fantasy,
Uh-huh.
and it turned out to be like sci-fi with medieval elements.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a great setting.
Yeah, it was So much about it was just surprising. Like it felt so different than anything else that I'd seen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah. And Nimona's such a fun character.
Yes, yes, so fun. I love her attitude.
Yeah.
And I like movies that successfully pull off twists, and I feel like this one did because there was so many times things would happen and be like, oh, didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
I feel like it's hard to like surprise me
Uh-huh.
because like I've seen enough movies that I've seen like the basic templates for stories enough that I know when a twist is coming or I know where this plot line is heading.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I had that with Nimona. I felt like it was all very fresh
Yeah.
and it was able to surprise me a lot.
Yeah. And like it really engrossed me in the movie, so I wasn't trying to predict anything. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like I was trying to figure out anything or being like, oh, that person's it. Oh, that thing's this. I was just enjoying the movie in the moment as
Hmm.
opposed to being, and I don't cap that happen a lot in movies. And it's okay when I can do that, but like it's kind of strange when I don't do that in a movie. And I
Hmm.
really enjoyed it about this movie because I don't think they're hiding it. Like it's not like, oh, you'll never see the twist. It's like the Sixth Sense or whatever, you know.
Yeah, it
It's
wasn't
not
that
like,
kind of a shocking twist. It was
yeah,
just
but
like,
like it's fun enough that you're so engrossed with it that when the twist happens, you're like, oh wow, a
yeah,
twist.
yeah,
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun and it was very engaging. So I was very engaged and enjoying every single moment of it.
yeah.
I demand sequel. I don't know. It'd be fun to visit the characters again.
Are they making a sequel?
I don't think so. I have not read the comic, but I'm pretty sure I've read like the first few pages and I'm pretty sure it's very different than the comic. And I think honestly, whilst I joke and say I demand a sequel, that's mainly just because I love the characters so much I want to see them again. But
Hmm.
I think that honestly the story works perfectly well as just one movie.
It does, yes.
Yeah.
But it is such a unique world that it would be fun to see more of this.
Yeah. Or maybe just make let Andy Stevenson make more movies.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who did the new She-Ra, which everyone really liked.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
But a lot of people say it's really good, and after watching Nimona, I might go try it out. Because I have a friend who's really into it. Like, and she doesn't watch that kind of stuff usually. She's like, oh, I'll watch the first episode. It's not really seems for me. And she binged it. So she recommended it to me. And I'm like, it looks really fun and good, but I just haven't gotten time because television shows are the bane of my existence.
Yeah, it has been harder and harder in recent years to like get into new TV shows because I have so many that I want to watch and then it's like I'll get to it eventually and then
Yeah.
eventually never seems to come.
Yeah.
Well, for number three, this is where I have Elemental.
Okay. Yeah.
I loved Elemental. I think this is one of those times where low expectations are amazing
Uh-huh.
because, like, when the trailer came out, I was not enthused. I was like, this is the most generic, the most, if somebody could just like threw a bunch of topics in a hat and said, here's the next Pixar film, this is just like a generic Pixar film. What if elements were alive? It's like this does not excite me as a premise. This seems like the most lazy idea you could ever come up with. And so I went in thinking it's not going to be that good. And I loved it.
Yeah.
Normally, I would say that I want at least a little bit of an idea of what a movie is going in, like with because the trailer gave you nothing. And the
Yeah.
trailer almost turned me off of the movie. But because it did that, and I don't know if it hurt its box office or not. I don't know how many people would have been like me, but then not gone to see it. But at least for me, I'm kind of glad that I went in blind and not know what's going on, so that
Uh-huh.
I could be surprised and could end up loving it so much
Mm-hmm.
because you really have no idea what's going on based on the trailer. I
Yeah.
had zero expectations for what this movie was going to be. I just went to it because it's Pixar, and I will give Pixar the benefit of the doubt, even if I'm not that enthused.
Uh-huh.
and I loved it. It was so good. I loved the characters. I thought Wade and Ember were a great couple. And I'm not usually a romance movie type of person, but if you're going to do a romance in a fantasy setting with Pixar,
Yeah.
it's going to be better than just a generic rom-com that you see on TV.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I really liked the characters. I liked like the messaging, like not that it's exactly the same because like this is a totally different culture, but like I'm first generation immigrant too.
Uh-huh.
So it's not exactly the same. My dad was from Canada. So it's not that much of a huge
Yeah.
leap in culture, but
Uh-huh.
I appreciated that about the movie and I thought they nailed that really well.
Uh-huh.
Seen enough foreign media that I knew exactly that this was a Korean filmmaker. I don't know why I knew that, but it just seemed similar to other Korean movies and or shows that I've seen in the past. It's like, yeah, this has got to be a Korean allegory. I don't think I knew that Peter Sohn was the one who done it because I really didn't look up much about this movie at all. I was just so not enthused. So it made total sense. Once I looked it up, I was like, oh, that's who did it. Yes, my read was correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was so good.
Yeah, I remember when the trailers came out, everyone was like, this looks bad. And I agree that the trailers are not good. And I think that the issue was is that it's a very hard to market movie, especially the way that Pixar markets movies.
Yeah,
They have a very formulaic marketing, and I've never really liked Pixar trailers. They're always very weird and never really sell the movie correctly, in my opinion.
that is kind of I never really thought about it, but like even when I was a kid, the trailers were all they would like do fake scenes for the trailers. And this
Yeah,
is that I don't think this was a fake scene, but it was a scene that had nothing to do with the plot at all.
yeah.
I can't remember. Did the scene from the trailer air in the movie? I remember a scene
Not,
similar.
yeah, there was a similar scene, but it's not technically the same scene with
Okay.
her in the train, but it's a very different mood. It's a very different reason why she's there.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, they did not, whether it was on purpose or not, they did not sell what the movie was.
yeah.
I had no idea going in what it was. And even if it did hurt it at the beginning, I think because it was so good, word of mouth got out. And because like when it first came out, everybody was talking like it's a box office bomb. It's the worst performing movie Pixar's ever
Uh-huh.
made. But then a few weeks later, it had climbed up to like near the top, if not number
Yeah,
one. And
yeah.
it more than doubled its budget in the end, even though it
Uh-huh.
seemed like a bomb at the beginning.
Yeah. And I heard it did really well overseas as well.
Yeah,
So that's really good for it.
yeah.
I was also optimistic because I like Peter Sohn's art style, and I was excited to see like that they were letting a new person, quote unquote. But I was excited to see, a very personal story in a Pixar film
Hmm.
again instead of just a sequel or, I like it when stories are very personal to the person creating them. So I was excited for that and I was like, hopefully, but I will admit that like I was also like, this might not be great going in, and I had no idea what the movie was from the trailers because they do not sell the movie.
Yeah. But yeah, if anybody's listening who has not seen Elemental, whether they heard it was bad or saw the trailer and were turned off, it's not what you think. Go in, go see
No,
it.
yeah, do it for Wade. You don't want to make Wade cry. That could also be like that's another thing. Like always crying could be a very annoying personality trait for a character, but they did it really well
Yeah,
and very
yeah,
realistically.
yeah.
I guess he said that it's very based off of him and his wife, but their roles are reversed. So he's a lot like Wade, and but he has lived more like Amber, I think.
Ember.
Yeah, and then she's more like Ember, I think. But, like I think it's a reverse story. I don't remember, but I remember him saying that it's heavily based off of him and his wife, and how they met and like they're very different cultures because they met in California and she was
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I was raised in California." And so I'm a very white American California person. But yeah, so I think it's really cool when writers really take from not only personal experiences, but like they kind of know what they're doing
Yeah,
as opposed to a corporate trying to
yes.
do something. Ha ha. Cough, cough, wish, cough, cough.
Yeah.
I feel slightly bad for dragging Wish down because everyone has done it. But also, like, come on.
Yeah,
I feel like I do not blame anyone who worked on it creatively or any of that. I don't
yeah,
even really blame the writers. I'm sure there was a lot of problems going on in there.
yeah. And I doubt it will be something we'll ever know because I have a feeling they're not going to do a behind the scenes expose
Yeah,
on this one.
yeah.
Well, what do you have for number three?
So my number three is a Netflix movie called The Monkey King.
Oh, that was another one that I was going to try and get to and never got to.
Yeah, so again, I can understand if people don't like it, but I love this movie. This movie's amazing. And it's funny because I love the Monkey King in mythology and all that. I have seen far too many Monkey King movies in my life. There's so many, and I will never be able to watch all of them because there's like over 100.
Really?
So yes,
I feel
like
like the only one I've ever seen is the Wishbone episode. I knew there was a couple. I wouldn't have expected over 100.
yeah, because like I feel like because the term Monkey King movie is used very loosely, because some of the ones I have watched, they're just Chinese dramas with a character who has a little bit of fuzz on his face, and they call him the Monkey King. But yeah, so I've seen some wild Monkey King movies. But anyways, this one's a good one. I was super hyped when I heard the announcement. I saw the concept art. I was so down for it. I couldn't wait. And then you didn't hear anything. And I'm like, please tell me Netflix didn't cancel it. Because Netflix was purging a lot of their animated movies at that time.
Mm.
And I'm like, did they just not mention it? Did I miss it? So I was Googling it like weekly, hoping to find information. Like, did they cancel it? Nothing. And then I got a trailer like months later. And I'm like, yes. Then it got an announcement. It got one trailer and then an announcement. It was very small, barely any marketing. And I was so hyped. Gosh, when did it come out? Because I remember it came out in August. Okay, so no, it came out in July 30th, basically August. Because I remember that Blue Beetle, Ninja Turtles, and that movie all came out at the same time, around the same time. And it was like Christmas and my birthday and any other huge event had all happened at once because that's around my birthday time. So I was like, yes, the universe is giving me all the greatest movies. So, no, but this movie is a lot of fun. I will admit, when I first started watching, I'm like, oh no, wait. I suddenly got hit with the realization, wait, this movie could actually be bad. I, I hadn't even considered it, but I'm like, wait a minute, no. But it won me over quite quickly. Like, at first, I was like, it kind of starts out like a bad movie where you have like this monkey talking about like shadows and stuff. And I was like, this is weird. It's all shot in like one shot with people talking. And I'm like, oh no, this movie could be bad. I was like, I kind of gave me a little of old like Netflix movies that I had watched previously, and I was like, oh no, this movie might be bad. But it wasn't bad. I loved Monkey King in this. He's nasty and full of himself, just like he's supposed to, and he's cheeky, but he has a heart of gold inside. It's all kind of about him before the journey to the West, which is the main portion of the Monkey King's story.
Hmm.
They kind of hint at the journey to the West at the end. I want them to make a sequel. It'd be so great. Just more of this, please. The style is fun. The Dragon King was really extra. If you want accuracy to the original books, I wouldn't say it's accurate. I say books, book, scrolls, old stories, all that stuff.
The ancient texts.
It's one of the oldest texts actually to exist. It's quite crazy. But I could talk about the creation of Monkey King for a long time because no one actually really knows how it was created. But anyways, it's fascinating. As I've already said, I love the Monkey King.
You're kind of making me want to do an every version ever on the Monkey
Oh
King.
gosh. Imagine. I think I would own this movie if it came out on DVD, but Netflix are cowards. I own two versions of Monkey King. I can't guarantee that they're very good, but I love them. I've seen so many. Yeah, no. Monkey King movies are nuts because they're so different from each other.
If I ever do, I'll have to consult you on what ones to feature.
Yeah, no. There was one animated one, actually by the same people who made Deep Sea. It was the first animated movie I think they made. It was definitely the biggest one. It actually was the biggest animated movie in China for a very long time. But the way it was created was Kung Fu Panda came out, and then China's just like, hang on, they're making better animated movies about China than we are. So they said, go make us an animated movie about Chinese things. And so they picked The Monkey King because it's a very popular story within China. And I wouldn't say it's great. And the English version of it is kind of worse because they changed it when they released it in English. They've cut some scenes, they changed some
Mm.
stuff, they put different music because they really wanted to sell it to Americans. They got
I
Jackie
hate it
Chan.
when they do that.
They got Jackie Chan as the voice. I think he voiced him in Chinese too,
That would make
if I'm
sense.
not wrong. But he also did him in English, and I think he did a fine job. I think his microphone was really crappy though.
Oh no.
Like, this is a subtitles movie, regardless of what language you're watching it in. It's
Mm.
got not great, it's got bad dub. Unfortunately, it's hard to get your hands on the Chinese version in America. It's better. I think people have uploaded on YouTube, legitimately. Anyways, back to this Monkey King movie. It's very sweet, very good. I really liked all the characters. I watched it with people who kind of knew about the story and watched it with people who knew nothing about the story, and we all seemed to collectively enjoyed it. So I highly recommend it if you want a fun time movie about a monkey, and I don't see why you wouldn't want to watch that, but it's really fun. I loved it. The art style's fun. It's all a lot of fun. So I'll shut up about the Monkey King now. Because I could probably talk for quite a few hours about that.
You've made me wish that I'd remembered to watch it.
This all, you know what? It's not going anywhere as far as I know. So
Yeah, no, I should definitely have that on my growing list of things that I need to watch from last year.
I know, right? You watch so many movies and then you're like, I feel like I've watched nothing.
Well, for my number two, I have Merry Little Batman.
Yeah.
I loved this movie so much. It was absolutely hilarious. I did not expect that going in. Like, I wasn't in love with the art style. It has a very stylized, cartoony look. Like, I grew up with the original Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
So that's, to me, that's Batman. This was a very goofy looking Batman, but getting into the movie, that matched the vibe.
Yeah.
This is a very goofy movie, which I mean, you should know going in because it's Merry Little Batman. It's a Christmas Batman movie. You should know that you're not getting a very serious Batman. This is goofy Batman.
Yeah. The best of Batman.
Yes, yes. I loved it so much. It was so funny. I watched it multiple times. I kept making people watch it with me. I didn't have to twist their arm very hard because everybody needed the laughs. So
Yeah.
everyone who watched it with me really liked it. It was so good. We did a whole podcast on it, so I don't need to go on at length about it. If you want more of our thoughts on Merry Little Batman, there is an entire podcast you can listen to. So, but yeah, I'm surprised and not surprised that it made it all the way up to number two on my list for the year.
Uh-huh.
It was so good. I loved it.
Yeah.
Well, I have a feeling I know what your number two is.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay, well, I knew it was going to be one of two, and I wasn't sure which
Yeah,
one was going to inch out the other. So we
yeah.
probably have the same top one. So
I am very unpredictable on that front sometimes. It's like, oh yeah, that would be your top. And I'm like, nope, sorry. Ninja Turtles came out. But this time Ninja Turtle got beaten.
which is not that surprising, but
Yeah,
we'll talk about the best when we get there. You can go on
yeah.
about turtles right now.
Yeah, turtles, turtles, turtles. Yes. Yeah, I was super stoked for this movie. I was so excited from hearing about its concept. Even though like they were like, "Oh, Seth Rogen's making Ninja Turtles." And I'm like, "Okay, that can either be good, or that can be bad."
Yeah.
But then I found out that he was aiming towards kids, so I was like, "Okay, it's not going to be bad." It's not going to be like on the one hand that would be interesting, but on the other hand, I don't want to watch them. Don't want Sausage Party, but with Ninja Turtles. Thank
Uh,
you very much, sir. But no, so I got super excited. The more I saw, the more excited I got. I love it all so much. I love the Ninja Turtles. I love Superfly. I love everyone so much. I love the jokes. I love it when Splinter has the cardboard cutouts of Chris Pine and Chris Evans. He's like, it's me, Chris Evans, the best of the Chris's. I don't know why. It's so perfect. The humor is so good.
it is.
It's so I love Jackie Chan as Splinter.
Oh, he
I
was so
love
good.
I love him telling his backstory. He's like, look at me, I'm cute, I'm adorable. He's like, who am I kidding? I was on top of the world. I was terrible. I loved this rendition of Splinter. Splinter as a character throughout Ninja Turtles has never been exactly my favorite because he never really has much personality besides being the sensei character and teaching them and giving them wisdom and stuff. That's been his thing for many, many years. And I really like him in the original 90s movie. He's got that essence to him, but he still feels like a father to the Ninja Turtles.
Hmm.
But then after that, like, just he was all right, but he wasn't great. And then I really loved him in Rise of the Ninja Turtles because Rise of the Ninja Turtles is the best Ninja Turtles thing. And this very closely got to that, but it didn't quite mask it because I think Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is just perfection. So, but he had a lot of personality in that. He is very deadbeat dad, and he was very deadbeat dad almost in a sense in this, but very different. And I really enjoyed him. I enjoyed him a lot more than I've ever expected to enjoy a Splinter. I loved all the little Ninja Turtles. I loved April. She was amazing. I always
Yeah.
love it when they change up April and give her some more personality. I really liked all the villains. I loved all their designs.
Hmm.
I loved just the weird quirks they had. When they were announcing it and they're like, look at all these voice actors, like all these big named actors. I'm like, why are we casting Paul Rudd and
Half,
Post
half of them
Malone?
I didn't even realize that they were famous until I looked up the cast list
Yeah,
after I
like
watched
all of
it.
them are somebody. And it almost feels like just like someone called in a bunch of their friends or something. Like someone was like, "Hey, famous friends, you want to be in our movie for like 10 minutes?" And they're like, "Heck yeah." But I was like, "Oh no, it's so stacked with voice cast. Is that going to sometimes that kind of bogs down a movie because that's the selling part for parents, so they kind of like shove big named actors in it." But no, it was really fun. I loved Mondo Gecko. I've always liked Mondo Gecko. He's a lot of fun, but this is my favorite version of Mondo Gecko. I loved him. He was so great. I loved Ray Fillet was really funny. How he just sing randomly. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I'd
It's
never seen, like I said, I'd never seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles before. None of us had who were watching it. We were trying to figure out what he was, and we had decided on a cicada until he started swimming. I was like, wait a minute, I think he's supposed to be a manta ray.
that's funny, yeah. Yeah, no, he's a manta ray. I love Leatherhead. She was great.
She was funny,
I
yeah.
I understand like there was a bunch of people who are mad because Leatherhead's traditionally a dude. So what, guys? Okay. Shut up. She was awesome. Just get over yourself. I don't know what to tell you. Uh, if that's what you're complaining about, go reevaluate your personal biases and then come back and enjoy the movie. I don't know. But no, I loved it. There's not much more to say than that. I loved the weird giant super duper fly at the end.
That was so bizarre. Like that
It's
was,
so
I never
weird.
saw something like that coming, and I'm almost shocked that they did that for a kids movie because it was borderline horror, like body
Yeah.
horror.
Yeah.
But the way they did it with the art style made it less disturbing,
Uh-huh.
so it worked for this.
Yeah, I think that Ice Cube did a great job. I've never seen Ice Cube in anything. I don't really listen to his music, but I thought he did a great job as Superfly. But yeah, amazing movie. 10 out of
Yeah.
10. Can't wait for the sequel. Can't wait for the show. So, golly gee, what's your top favorite movie of this year?
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, same here. To no one's
Yes,
surprise.
it was so, so, so good.
Yeah. And I tried to give the other movies a chance. I want that to be put out there. I rated them as biasedly as I could. So that's why the Monkey King's so high up. So they're all biased opinions. That's how a list works. And
Yeah,
this movie is freaking amazing. So
yeah. Well, like I said, my top five, I feel like could have all been interchangeable, but I feel like even with that said, I think this still comes out on top based on
yeah,
artistry alone.
yes.
It's just so gorgeous, for lack
Yeah,
of a better
right.
word.
Yes.
It's just amazing to look at.
Exactly.
Just all the different animation styles, all the different worlds, all the different characters, all the different versions of the characters.
Uh-huh.
And the fact that they can do that and you never get bored with it and you never feel like, oh, I've seen this before. It just always feels fresh. It's always surprising. And even when things happen that you kind of saw coming, like I kind of saw some of the end coming because I knew it was going to end on a cliffhanger. And
Uh-huh.
I kind of figured out where things were going to go, but that didn't stop it from being an amazing twist and
Yeah.
amazing ending. Like I don't usually love cliffhangers, but if you're going to have a cliffhanger, make it a good one. And they made this one a good one.
Yeah, for sure. My only thing, and this is seriously my only thing about the movie itself, devoid of production and stuff, which is a whole other
Yeah.
can of worms. But because it is technically a part one of a two story with the cliffhanger, I am concerned that the third movie now has a lot of weight upon it.
Yes, it does.
And so I'm a little worried for that. But I'm hopeful because they've done it twice. I'm hoping that they can do it a third time.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping that this story gets a good conclusion because I love these movies. They're very awesome. The
Hmm.
first one's extremely important to me on many different levels. And the second one is just so amazing. And again, very important to me. Weirdly, these movies have coincided with a lot of different things in my life and personal growth and stuff. So it's weird. But I appreciate them being there for me during those times. And oh my gosh, I'm really hoping for the third one. And I want them to take as much time as they need. I don't care if it comes
Yes.
6 years later. I
Yeah.
can wait 6 years.
Yeah.
I will say that I might do a little bit of whining, but I can wait 6 years.
Yeah. I don't think we'll have to wait 6 years, but
No.
I don't mind an extra wait as long as the movie is going to be good.
Yeah.
I don't want them to rush something and give us a half-baked whatever just so they can get the movie out on time.
Yeah. No. Like when they announced the first release date, I'm like, no way, no way are you
Yeah.
ever doing that because you barely got this movie out on time. You're not
And it's so long. Like it's
Yeah.
even if they cut, I can't imagine the third one is going to be longer than this, but even if it's exactly the same length, there's
Yeah.
no way. Like how on earth?
Yeah.
I think this might I don't remember if it broke the record or not, but if it didn't, this is one of the longest movies, the longest animated movies ever.
Yeah. Which is crazy. And it doesn't feel like that though, which is nice.
No, no, yeah. And lately I've been just kind of avoiding anything over 2.5 hours.
Yeah, like even 2.5 hours sometimes. Like, not to sound like my generation, but I don't know if my attention span can last that long sometimes with I just feel like these stories, a lot of people just try to make a 2.5 hour movie because they can slash that's the norm at this point.
Yeah,
But I don't think every movie needs to be that long, let alone
no,
longer than that.
no.
Like so many stories do not need that much time. A lot of times I'll walk away from a movie and be like, that was good, but it should have been shorter. You could have cut out a little bit and it would have been a
Yeah,
much tighter, better movie.
yeah.
But not this movie, because this movie rocks.
This movie used every bit of its 140-minute runtime. Not a minute was wasted. Everything was important to the story. There
Yes.
was no filler. It just moved from thing to thing to thing exactly as it needed to. It was as close to perfect as you can get.
Yeah. So I have to ask, who is your favorite of the new cast?
Maybe Hobie.
Yeah. High virtual high five. Correct.
I really liked Spider-Punk. I mean,
I love him.
the others were good too, and I really liked Paviter. Is that how you pronounce it?
I
The
think it's
Indian Spider-Man.
I think yeah, I think it's Praviter Pravaka. If I try to phonetically do what he says in the movie, I've tried to listen to it a bunch. I highly doubt I got it right. I call him Pav for short because that's his
Yes.
nickname.
Yeah.
So, but no,
He
he's
was great too, but I think Hobie edged him out. I think Hobie was my favorite of
yeah.
the new cast.
Yeah, I mean, I love Pav. I love Miguel. He's so horrible. I loved Mayday. She was great. I thought Jessica was really good too, but
Yeah.
Hobie just wiped the floor with everybody. Like, oh, he
I
just
especially his like reveal at the end and like giving it the okay, I forgot about like his thing at the end. Yes, he is my favorite.
yeah, yeah,
If I was thinking of like toward his more of his introduction as just,
uh-huh.
but yeah, the way he exits and
Yeah.
moves the story along. I don't want to give things away if anybody hasn't seen it. That
Yes.
yes, that solidifies him as the best new Spider-Man.
Yes. Like, oh my gosh. I had been aware of Spider-Punk beforehand because I had read the original Spider-Verse. I don't know if I'd recommend it. It's very strange because the original Spider-Verse comic book is about a bunch of Spider-Men teaming up together because vampires are after them. Like, and they have to like eat spider people. That's the premise of this story. It's very strange. It's been a while since I read it. I kind of want to reread it, but Spider-Punk was in that, and I like comic book Spider-Punk too. He recently got a new run. I absolutely adore it. He's got a new run going on right now, and I don't keep up with comics very much, but I've been buying them consistently because I love him. I've got his little action figure. I just absolutely adore Hobie. And just this version of Hobie, though, blows all other Hobies out of water. I love him. He's voiced by Daniel Kaluuya, who I love as well.
Hmm.
He does such a good job as Hobie. I love that he's British.
It was perfect. The voice is perfect.
Yes. I love the aesthetic. I love the just the art style. It's just so cool. Like it's like they do wide shots and there's multiple characters walking and I'm like I want to watch everyone walking in the scene but I can't because I'm watching Hobie walk because every time I watch him just the masterfulness of his animation is amazing.
Yes.
And the fact that like I didn't even know he was going to be in the movie because I don't think he's in really any of the trailers. I think he's like in one scene in the trailers. He was not marketed very much at all.
I feel like I had seen a picture of him, but I didn't know anything about the character to
Yeah.
care enough to be looking forward to him. So
Uh-huh.
he was just a new character to me.
Yeah. I love him so much.
Yeah. Yeah, he was great. I loved his end for this movie. I'm sure he'll be back, but the way he left this movie was
Yes.
perfect.
Oh, yes. He's so funny too.
Yeah.
He made me die laughing.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't do teamwork. Aren't you in a band? I don't believe in consistency. This his absolute like unabashed shame of being himself and everyone just kind of frustrated with him but inevitably all fall in love with him. It's so awesome. I love him so much.
Hmm.
And it's funny because Miles Morales is my favorite Spider-Man because he was my very first Spider-Man in comic books. I watched the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man first. I don't remember when I first watched that because I've been watching it for that long. So Peter Parker was my first Spider-Man, but Miles Morales was my first comic book ever. And I was around the same age as him, and it really connected to me. So I love Miles Morales.
Hmm.
But Spider-Punk is right there next to him because I just love him so much. And I hope that we get more of this version of Hobie because I still love comic book Hobie, but he doesn't quite have the same aesthetic and attitude. And I just love this guy. And I hope that he's in it more. I hope he's in the third one as well. That'd be really weird if he wasn't.
He
But
has to be.
yeah, like I don't know how you could not have him. I was talking to my sibling. I'm like, do you think they're gonna kill anyone? And I'm like, do you think they're gonna kill Hobie? Because I hate that idea, but he kind of almost fits in perfectly for the character to die. I'm like, and I hate that idea. Don't kill a Spider-Man, is what I'm saying. If anyone dies in the third movie, I'm gonna be very mad. They all
That's
need to
not
live
even
and be
something that had
happy.
crossed my mind, and now you've got me worried about
Oh
it.
no! I take it back. I don't want any of this. Like, it's just, I don't know. I guess it was one of those late night thoughts. And I'm like, oh crap. And I'm like, no, no, none of the Spider-Man are going to die. They're all going to have happy endings because this is Spider-Verse and we all love our Spider-Man, right? We're not going to kill anyone, right? No, I riot if they kill anyone. But no, I sincerely hope and will tell myself I doubt it. But yes, Across Spider-Verse. I don't want to spoil it because again, if no one's seen it, if you haven't seen it, please go watch it
Yeah,
because it's one of the greatest pieces of cinema of all time. Like this definitely like if we had like a Hall of Fame for movies, this needs to be in there.
yeah.
So is the first one. And I love just how much they keep pushing the medium and expanding new horizons and trying different things.
Hmm.
And I really appreciate all the hard work that all of these people have done.
Yeah. Well, I guess that is our list. I feel like there wasn't as much amazing animation as there has been in past years, but what we did get was really amazing.
Yeah.
So even though I don't feel like I feel like I should have had more that I was just in love with, but
Uh-huh.
I'm so thankful for the ones we got because Spider-Man, Spider-Verse, Merry Little Batman, like I said,
Uh-huh.
my top five, but they're so different. Spider-Man, Merry Little Batman, Elemental, Suzume, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then if you go even further, Nimona, The Boy and the Heron, Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget. They're all so different and so good in their own
Yeah.
ways. It
Uh-huh.
just, yeah, even though some certain studios don't seem to be putting in their A game, I feel like some of the lesser studios are coming in and stepping up and taking over where
Yeah.
maybe Disney is falling off.
Disney, I think you mean some certain studios. No, and I'm super excited for movies this year. I'm pretty excited to see what Pixar is up to with their new movie.
Yeah.
I really cannot wait for DreamWorks robot movie. That looks
Oh,
so amazing.
I did see like a bit of a trailer for that. I don't even know if I watched the whole thing. I think I was at work and I saw a trailer
Yeah.
partly on silent on my phone. Yeah, that looked actually really good, and I know nothing about it.
Yeah, no, highly recommend the trailer. That is probably contestant of my top movie of this next year because it already looks really good. If it's done really well. But
Hmm.
yeah, like there's so many good looking movies coming out this year, and I'm super excited for it. I can't wait to see what's coming next from all these studios. I think a lot of the big ones are taking a bit of a break this year, like
Sort of.
a little. Like they're all coming out by the end of the year, I think.
Well, like Disney has Moana 2 coming, but that was originally going to be something for Disney Plus. So
Yeah. Look,
I I'm
this is
I'm not
yeah.
holding out. I'm holding out a tiny bit of hope, but
Is this going to be an Atlantis situation? Have you ever
we'll
seen
see.
Atlantis 2?
No, I have
Quote
it. I have the
unquote.
DVD because it came with Atlantis. That was one. There's so many like either sequels or remakes or whatever that I'm just
Yeah.
like I will wait until I get to that on my podcast and then I will finally watch it. I'm not really looking forward to Atlantis too.
Don't recommend it. I watched it just because I love Atlantis so much. Yeah. Nah.
Yeah, I'll get to it eventually, but I'm not looking forward to it. I have never heard one good thing about it.
The good thing is Atlantis 1 exists, so you could go watch that instead.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the smaller studios are stepping it up. Like, not that Sony Pictures is a small studio anymore. I feel like with
Yeah.
Spider-Verse, they are now playing with the big boys.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other studios are stepping in where others may be lacking. And
Yeah.
even though like if you're thinking just of like the traditional big name studios, it does feel like we're kind of in a down period, but the
Uh-huh.
smaller studios coming in and like even indie animation, like there's so much out there that is kind of filling in
Yeah.
that I feel like even though the big studios are lacking, it's still an amazing time for animation in general.
Yeah, for sure. I'm super excited to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So many creative people are making movies right now in the animation world, and I'm super excited to see what they're going to do because you never quite know what you're going to get with these crazy kooks.
Yeah. Okay, well, until next year, do you want to let people know where they can find you if they want more from you?
Yeah, you can find me at Katie Draws Things on Instagram. I draw things over there. It's a lot of fun. I draw some fan art sometimes, and I draw my own characters, and it's a lot of fun. So come on over if you wanna, and I'm sure we'll all have fun.
Okay, well, we will see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to our 2023 animation ranking. We know that our lists are extremely subjective, so if you have a totally different ranking than we do, feel free to make your own list in the comments. Also, if there are any animated films we missed, let us know. I'd love to catch up on anything amazing I might have overlooked. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and follow Katie as well. My link tree and her links will be in the description below. If you want more content, all my podcasts are available on YouTube as well as most podcast platforms. If you enjoyed this show, check out one of our other podcasts or check out my Patreon for bonus and extended episodes you won't find anywhere else, including a massive, extended, full-length version of this podcast, including tangents and a full extra segment of us talking about our favorite non-animated films from last year. We'll be back soon with another brand new episode, so thanks for listening and we'll see you next time.